The culture, the brotherhood of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brings in, like, it just sucks us in like a vacuum, right? And who knows whether, we can blame ourselves for the way we lived before we discovered Jiu Jitsu, but I can tell you one thing is absolutely certain. The culture of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu absolutely makes that mentality worse. And I can say this from experience, right? Because of my background, which I'll talk about in a sec. So, what I'm going to cover today is what I call the creature mindset. And I call this the 1.0 grappler. And it's how most grapplers view themselves, it's how most grapplers think, believe about anything, and how they problem solve. I'll touch on the elite mindset, which I call the 2.0 grappler. But the main thing I want you to what I want from this video is that you have an awareness of what is going on. Like, yes, I can say how to stop listening to the creature, but even easier than that, I just want you to have an awareness that this is going on, right? And you now have an awareness, you've identified that this is happening, and then all I can do at that point is hope, right? Because it comes down to you. It comes down to your ability as a man to make, to start thinking a little bit differently, because it's going to benefit your life. For those that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Green. I'm a former British paratrooper, special forces spoke operator, trained thousands of elite soldiers and hundreds of grapplers, and now I coach people on the longevity program, which is mainly grapplers, right? And the nature of grapplers, sometimes injuries come on my desk and I rehab them injuries, and yeah, absolutely love doing so. But the common theme throughout my program is using everything as a means to develop character. We have physical capabilities, capacity, and we have character. Without character, we always slingshot back into old habits, old beliefs, and we just live a life like a creature, right? And we don't want that. So I'm going to talk about the 1.0 grappler, but I'm going to talk specifically about myself before I started Jiu-Jitsu. I'll make myself a little bit bigger. So before I started Jiu-Jitsu, I was addicted to online games. I was addicted to gambling. I loved playing poker. What else was I addicted to? I was addicted to porn. I used to watch porn most nights, probably every night. I was addicted to dating random women. What else? So I had a lot of shit going on. I was addicted to my smartphone. I think that was pretty much it, right? So I was your typical creature. I trained hard. I ate shit foods, not necessarily generally relatively healthy, but I just ate lots of it. So I was genuinely a creature, right? So I call this the creature mindset. I was a creature, right? But when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I'm now surrounded by creatures. But my personal experience with this, right? Look at this picture. Look at this here. I've been in the parachute regiment for fucking 10 years. I know what it's like to be sucked into a brotherhood. Heavy machine guns platoon. Right? I'll keep it on here. Right? So, same again. I've joined the parachute regiment at a time when I'm addicted to all of them things. Right? And when you've got other lads that are also addicted to them things, we actually give each other a nudge to make ourselves more repulsive and more of a creature, and we get a kick and a laugh out of conducting ourselves in terrible ways, eating worse food, training like an idiot, like doing stupid shit. Like, it's like a bravado, it's a cult, it's a culture. It's great, it's powerful, it's fucking unbelievable in so many ways. But we need to have the ability to just have a little bit of a logical foundation, because if we're constantly listening to external stuff and getting sucked in and, trying to impress people, and we don't have any personal standards, that is really where the problems start. So I've started doing jiu-jitsu about 7 years ago, right? And yes, you get sucked into jiu-jitsu, absolutely, and rightly so. But jiu-jitsu is a massively, as much as you may think it's logical, as much as you, right, we're doing reps, we're doing sets, it's an emotional sport. It's so emotional, and that's why it's so good for mental health. It's an emotional release. We're so tunnel vision on problem solving. It's so much emotion, thrill, adrenaline, all the rest of it, right? But this is why I'm massive on this stuff now, the creature mindset. Because the creature mindset infects most men. And what it is it's your survival brain, right? And your survival brain's always present. But having the awareness that it is just the survival brain, and all that it cares about is you surviving. So every time you reach for a certain food, it is just thinking about your survival at that second. It's not thinking about your health, because your health is long term. The creature cannot think about the future. It only thinks about now. Dopamine, watching videos on your smartphone for 3 hours, watching porn, it's only thinking about your survival now. Maximum hormones now. High calorie foods, unhealthy foods, watching porn, watching social media videos, playing online games, gambling, all of these, and jiu-jitsu as well. It's just another one of them things that the creature in our brain is running rampant when we're doing jiu-jitsu. Fuck it. It couldn't be. It's just a proper cocktail of all things awful, right? But it's just a part of your brain that you are choosing to listen to. You are choosing to listen to a part of your brain that is only caring about your survival that second. It doesn't want you to thrive. It actually is repulsed by the idea of you thriving, because it knows that thriving requires discomfort. It requires training. It requires structure. It requires routine. It requires less calorie dense food choices and more nutrient dense food choices. The creature that may have infected your brain fully, meaning that you currently believe that I'm a dickhead for even saying all of these things, and you're repulsed by the audacity for me to say these things, is just a result of you listening to this creature every day for the past God knows how many years. The real problem of this is, it doesn't just affect you. How you act affects your family. They start living by these things as well. Your kids start having the same excuses. Start filling their days with high dopamine. Loves comfort, avoiding discomfort. Oh, I can't be bothered going for a walk today. Pathetic. But it's because of you. You're the leader of the family, right? 1.0 grappler. It's just the survival part of your brain that you are choosing to listen to. I have him as well, and I choose when to listen to him. Very rarely is one of them things, because I am in a thriving mindset, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So, on the mat, this is the real thing that confuses me. On the mats, growth mindset, learning environment, trying to learn as much as possible. Off the mats, they switch into a fixed mindset. They don't want to improve their physical capabilities. They don't want to eat nutrient-dense foods, even though they know it's good for them. Even though they know it'll benefit their performance on the mats. They don't do it. They do the opposite. And think the opposite is funny, because again, the creature's just running rampant at this point. Avoids discomfort off the mats. Avoids training their physical capabilities. Massive into this stuff, just like I was. Told you, All them things, them 5 things that I was addicted to when I started jiu-jitsu. Repulsed by structure. You know, they'd happily just spar every day on the mats from start to finish. You know, they're probably annoyed that fact that they have to do loads of reps. Reps, technique. Loads of reps. You know, they just want to spar and just blow off some steam. They don't have any personal standards. They don't even know what the hell personal standards are. They're constantly living by other people's personal standards, i.e. saying yes and afraid to say no to other people. And they make a lot of excuses. A lot of excuses for things that aren't jiu-jitsu. And again, they think that by being repulsed by anything that isn't jiu-jitsu, it's actually quite funny. So it makes it worse. You've got the creature, but then you've got the 1.0 grappler, which is even worse than the creature. And it's part of the cult. And the reason I say this is because I've been in the parachute regiment. I've seen it happen before. I've seen lads get sucked into the culture of the paras and they turn into the ultimate creature, shaving their eyebrows off after 2 drinks on the piss. Hey, it's funny. No, you're an idiot. Eating shit, drinking shit, living like an absolute creature, and then that being celebrated by the lads. It's mad. It's mad what these cultures do to us. The downward spiral, realistically what happens physiologically is going to be a rollercoaster life of injuries because you're not taking responsibility. You have zero accountability over your outcomes. Blame yourself. You don't blame yourself, you blame everybody else. Rollercoaster of injuries because you're not developing your physical capabilities and you're repulsed by the idea of developing your physical capabilities. You've got so many excuses with regards to developing your physical capabilities that you have a life of injuries. You have a life of poor energy. You have a life of brain fog and you have a life of poor sleep. You have a limited jiu-jitsu career and infects your family. All of these same problems infect your family. Proof of concept. Listen to this. If your family has the same excuses as you, spends their time doing the same things as you, that is proof of concept that your beliefs have infected your family. When you change that, you change your family. So the fact that you could say, like, it's honestly, blame yourself for that as well. Blame yourself for that. Very, very bitter pill to swallow. Blame yourself for that as well. And understand, every time you look in the mirror and you go about your business in a day, understand that how you conduct yourself will be mirrored by your family members. And it's already been proven. You already know what I'm saying is the truth. Because it's been proven already. Unfortunately, it's been proven in a negative manner. Now, if you can reframe the creature mindset into the elite mindset, that will also be mirrored. But it requires effort. It makes you uncomfortable. The creature is going to be screaming in your head when you start snapping out of this stuff. I'll touch on these, but I'm not going to go that much in detail of the 2.0. Right. The 2.0 grappler is the elite mindset, the positive mindset, the growth mindset, the optimist, the confident, the man that has personal standards, the man that has self-respect. The man that doesn't make excuses, that blames himself for absolutely everything, because if he blames himself, he develops them areas. He gets full benefit of developing them weaker areas. If he blames somebody else, he outsources that responsibility. He eats nutrient-dense foods because his body will feel better by eating them. He doesn't call it a diet. And he smiles when others try and disrupt his personal standards. He's aware. He's got awareness. Oh, you're a man. You should be drinking on a Tuesday night. It's Christmas. It's like, what? The upgrades. Love in uncomfortable situations, because uncomfortable situations develop your character. If you have never been in an uncomfortable situation in your life, you're going to be a weak character. It's realistically the situation. Like, it couldn't be more true than that. Improves their physical capabilities off the mats. Love structure, because structure, routine, is the foundation to high performance. And lives mostly a logical life. He's a man. He needs evidence. He loves numbers. He loves improving his numbers. But he absolutely has time and prides himself in enjoying himself. We can enjoy ourselves on the mat, but the logical foundation is what gives us a fucking platform to do jiu-jitsu for the rest of our lives. Without it, no chance. The real difference with the creature mindset, you may have followed a training program for a while. You may have done a diet before the summer or whatever you did. But at the end of the day, you're not anymore, and you're still living like a creature. It's not because the program wasn't good enough. It's not because the meal plan wasn't good enough. It's not because your coach wasn't good enough. It's because you weren't good enough. And the way I like to explain this is, if you go about a physical endeavour without looking at the mirror and thinking about the character, your beliefs and how you problem solve first, you're going to get tension from the get-go. You currently believe you're 1.0, but you are doing actions in which are 2.0 actions and habits. So you're going to make progress, right? But let's think about an elastic band. There's tension. There's tension that always wants to pull you back. However, what if you could have tension that pulled you forward? So now you've got 2.0 character, beliefs, problem solving, and then you've got the habits and tactics and systems, but you've got tension that drags you forward instead of dragging you back, because the foundation of it is you thinking and believing that you are elite. Because you fucking are elite. You're an athlete. You just don't believe it yet. So, every day you have a choice. You either listen to the creature or you listen to me. Every day I'm on YouTube. Every day. And I'm going to give you that question every single day. You listen to the creature, the path of least resistance, the path of most dopamine, only caring about your survival that second, or you listen to me. Personal standards, uncomfortable situations. Remember, I want you to thrive. The creature wants you to survive. The creature is repulsed by this. This is what I want. And this, ultimately, is what we do on the program. Like I said there, the choice. The choice is yours every day, right? But how many days are going to go by of you letting the creature dictate your thoughts, how you problem solve, and not only just you. Dictate how your family thinks, how your family problem solves, the excuses they make. That's proof of concept right there, that you need to fucking get a grip of this situation, because this is not good enough. Because the moment you live like the elite version of yourself for 24 hours, his voice, the creature's voice, gets weaker. Then when you start adding in habits, tactics and systems, it gets weaker. Another 24 hours. And that is exactly how we operate on the longevity program. The only benefit of that is you've got me with you on a one-to-one basis, getting you through this whole process. So that's how we get grapplers to systematically develop their physical and mental resilience, by thinking long term. The link is in the description if you are interested in jumping on a call with me. We'll have a conversation and we will see if you're a good fit for the program.